This is not the first military intervention against a sovereign state in the name of justice. They tried to impose their model on others, inevitably bringing death, destruction, desolation, and dilapidation. Nor is it the first time that they retreat hastily and resignedly, ridiculed by the whole world in a complete failure.
But we will shift into a support role as Afghans step forward. As we do, our troops will be coming home.
Had tremendous success in Afghanistan in the killing of terrorists, but it's time, after all these years, to go and to bring our people back home.
Two U.S. presidents once said that the U.S. military should leave Afghanistan, but they stayed in this country for another 10 years. On October 3, 2009, Khandesh, Nuristan province, a U.S. military post was attacked, killing 8 U.S. soldiers and wounding 22 others. In the end, the U.S. troops retreated and blew up the outpost.
Lance Corporal Benjamin W. Smith. Honor the dead.
In the 20 years, more than 2,400 U.S. soldiers were killed in Afghanistan, more than 20,000 were injured, and more than 3,800 U.S. security employees died. But the victory seems to be getting farther and farther away.
I've concluded that it's time to end America's longest war. It's time for American troops to come home. The United States will begin our final withdrawal, began it on May 1 of this year.
The Americans left in a hurry and in a mess. The death of thousands of soldiers and tens of thousands of civilians became pointless overnight. Even the most steadfast ally of the United States cannot accept such a defeat.
And the trouble with this decision is that our friends are now anxious, but it's not just about the Afghan people, it's about us and our security.
So this is a shame on all of us, not just America, but also the whole of NATO.
The reason for our current situation is that the decision was taken abruptly.
Except for U.S. military equipment and U.S. soldiers, the entire evacuation was disorderly, panicked, and chaotic. The Afghans, who have fought alongside U.S. soldiers for the past 20 years, have also been abandoned.
My mother has been inside the airport for the last 6 days, but the rest of our family is stuck outside because of all the people at the gate.
There's no information. The US shouldn't have announced anything if they weren't able to take people out.
Feeling deceived and betrayed, people poured into the tarmac and runway of Kabul airport, doing their best and even risking their deaths to climb onto the American transport plane. The U.S. troops suffered the biggest casualties in Afghanistan in the past decade during this retreat. In the past 20 years, the U.S. military has simultaneously launched invasions and military interventions in several countries, but now cannot guarantee their safe evacuation. And their enemies even do not have equipment such as tanks and fighter jets. Full of lies, killings, bullying, death, desolation, and decline in 20 years, this is a war that can be observed from more than 500 kilometers away in space. The military forces of the superpower imposed a disaster on the extremely poor and weak civilians, but they were ultimately unable to win, or even to withdraw in dignity. This is the longest war in U.S. history. And the Saigon moment has not passed away.